And now I'll endeavor to answer your questions.
Sir, was there anything else ever seen or heard from the unidentified aircraft?
No. The unidentified aircraft did not participate in the attack, and at this moment we have no further information regarding them.
Which direction did they disappear?
I can't tell you. There was no further information on them.
Secretary, can you name the bases in North Vietnam that were attacked?
No, I cannot.
Will you name them before the communists do?
We'll name that at a time appropriate to the safety of our forces, but it would be inappropriate to name them at the present time. The attack is continuing at present.
Can you tell us
how many bases?
No.
Or how many strikes?
Until such time as the attack is completed, it would be unwise to comment further or to identify the areas being attacked.
The attack is currently underway.
It is currently underway.
Mr. Secretary, you made a distinction between the bases in North Vietnam and certain other support facilities.
I simply wanted to distinguish between patrol craft bases themselves and certain supporting installations which might be separated geographically from the mooring points, of the craft, but in North Vietnam. That is correct.
No question that we attacked any other place but North Vietnam.
None whatsoever.
Can you say we're attacking Hanoi?
We're not attacking Hanoi. We're attacking only the patrol craft bases and certain associated logistical facilities.
In that area?
Not in the area of Hanoi. But in the
same area with
in North Vietnam.
In the same area with the patrol craft?
Yes, in the same area in which patrol craft are moored but separated physically from the mooring points.
Secretary, can you tell us when the attack has been completed? What orders the entire group has in this area?
We'll only be able to tell you such information as will not reveal future plans or in any way jeopardize our future operations.
Well, what I meant was, will they go back to the standing orders which they had up until...
It will depend on circumstances at the time. Yes.
Have the alert status of the United States forces around the world been increased?
Only such units as are being alerted for reinforcing moves.
Are there any long-range alerts to any portion of the defense industrial base at all?
No, none.
Sir, all the attacking aircraft and the strikes from the two carriers?
Yes.
Not based in South
The only aircraft participating in the strikes are aircraft from the Ticonderoga and the Constellation.
I think said that the carriers were in the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yes.
They moved up. They're shown there as being outside, aren't they?
Yes, the Ticonderoga is essentially in the Gulf of Tonkin area, and the Constellation has been moving in this direction.
Will this be one strike? Will this be one strike or several strikes?
There are obviously more than one aircraft from each carrier participating in it, but it's basically one strike unless there are further unprovoked attacks on our vessels.
Just a retaliatory strike.
I simply want to leave it as I said it. Yes.
Could you describe the weapons or the types of aircraft
being used? You know, they're typical aircraft from attack carriers.
Do you know whether the strike...
I'm sure it'll be successful.
Can you tell us if they have encountered any anti-aircraft opposition or any interdiction by air?
The strikes are continuing, so I can't give you any
Well, the idea of how many
aircraft involved on our part?
The aircraft from two attack carriers. I can't give you more information.
Have you had any conventional weapons?
Yes. Not only presumption, that is the fact. Should be no misunderstanding.
What did CIC radar show?
One at a time, I'm sorry.
What did CIC radar show the course of the three unidentified aircraft to be from? Why not?
We don't have any report on the course of the aircraft.
Do you have any casualty reports on the strikes?
There, none so far. There have been no casualties so far.
What time was the strike launched, Mr. Secretary?
I prefer not to give you the exact time of launch.
Were
Yes.
aircraft from the Constellation involved in the operations of the Maddox?
Yes, yes. This is a question I should clarify for you. I may not have made it clear. The question is, were aircraft from the Constellation involved in the protective cover during the attacks on the two destroyers August 4th? And the answer is yes. The Constellation and the Ticonderoga alternated in providing air cap for the destroyers on the 4th, yes.
Mr. Secretary, I'm sure there's no doubt in your mind that these PT boats came from, in fact, north.
There is none. The radar made it quite clear that they were coming from North Vietnamese bases.
Mr. Secretary,
Yes.
can you tell us the distance over which this engagement occurred? Is it about 60, 65
Well,
miles?
these are about 60 miles square, so that you can see that during this period of time from 7:40, when there was an indication that an attack was imminent, until sometime around midnight to 1:30, when it terminated, they covered a distance of something on the order of 80 miles.
Secretary,
Yes.
can you give us the basic reasons for the Gulf of Tonkin patrol?
It's a routine patrol of the type we carry out in international waters all over the world.
Does it have anything to do with movements of junks or
No.
whatever it is back and forth?
No, it has no special relationship to any operations in that area. We're carrying routine patrols of this kind on all over the world all the time.
Do you have any idea why the North Vietnamese may have done this?
None.
Are the
Yes.
reinforcements? Mr. Secretary, you mentioned that the destroyer at one point was under attack by automatic weapons. Would that be both destroyers or just the Maddox?
The report was, I believe, that both destroyers had been attacked by automatic weapons. Yes.
Any survivors?
No, we've picked up no survivors on either the second or the fourth.
Mr. Secretary,
Yes.
the reinforcements moving from the Western Pacific and coast, are they of all services?
Yes.
Mr. Secretary, has SAC and the Air Defense Command gone on an increased...
No, it has not.
Mr. Secretary,
Yes.
Can you tell us when you think this attack, this strike may be over, or when we may expect further details?
I would think that you might expect some further details tomorrow morning.
Have there been any casualties, any damage, anything whatsoever with American forces?
There have been no casualties to American forces, either sea or air, and no damage to American forces to date, either sea or air. That does. Although, as I point out to you, the airstrikes are not completed. Yes. I can't report on that until we get the full mission report, which we don't have at the present time. Yes.
The closest, roughly, that the attacking craft are supposed to have come to the Joy.
We had reports of torpedoes 100 to 200 yards off the beam of the ships. I can't tell you exactly how close the attacking craft came to the vessels, although if they were firing automatic weapons, they must have been closer than 800 yards at a minimum. Yes.
Fire first.
It was quite clear that the PT boats initiated the attack. Yes.
When was the last time there were destroyers up in that area at the top of the Gulf?
I'd prefer not to answer the question other than to say that we've been carrying on routine patrols in that area for months.
How far up do you go, Mr. Secretary, before they come back?
I'd prefer not to answer that either.
Mr.
We don't wish to identify the course of our operations in the area. Yes.
Can you tell us what orders the strike aircraft have if they encounter interceptor aircraft in North Vietnam?
They're to destroy any aircraft that are in a position to attack them.
Secretary,
Yes.
on the moving of troops from eastern
No,
or
in
far
the
east
air.
bases,
Pardon me.
from Far East bases to Southeast Asia, does that mean ground forces are being put into Vietnam?
No, it does not.
Mr. Secretary,
It means that we are reinforcing our forces there with such additional forces as we think may be required, and we have placed on alert for movement such forces as might be necessary. And I don't wish to identify the types or numbers or names or locations of those forces.
Could you repeat that first part about no troops in Vietnam? Is that what you said?
The question was, have additional troops been moved into North Vietnam, meaning have combat units been moved into North Vietnam? I should say South Vietnam, or are they being moved in South Vietnam? And the answer is no.
Are we hitting only shore installations, or do we move inland?
I referred to patrol craft bases and supporting logistical installations in close proximity to, but geographically separate from.
Mr. Secretary.
Mr. Secretary,
Yes.
has there been any similar aggressive actions on the part of the North Vietnamese Navy short of attempted torpedoing that we didn't bother to report before?
No.
This is the first time they even behaved.
That's right. And these, I want to emphasize that these attacks, both on Sunday and today, both on the 2nd of August and the 4th of August, occurred in international waters. These destroyers were operating between 30 and 60 miles off the North Vietnamese coast.
Can you tell us what
Yes.
towns, cities, or whatever on the Vietnamese coast there are roughly closest to
No.
or parallel the area of attack?
No.
Not our attack, but
No.
theirs on us.
No, I can't.
Secretary, how far up is that 7:40 p.m.? Is that 60 miles or?
These squares are 60 miles, so this point is on the order of 65 miles, perhaps.
Mr.
And as
Secretary,
you can see down here, it's something a little less than that. Yes.
Some of our readers will find it difficult to understand how the two destroyers were chased, and apparently from this maneuver they made, they ran from these PT boats, and yet they were
No,
sufficiently...
this is their course of patrol.
But while under attack?
Yes, they were proceeding south
I mean, once they were engaged, they didn't...
Well,
turn
this is the approximate direction they moved in. Of course, they were taking evasive action during that period of time to avoid the torpedoes which were launched against them.
But the second part of this, if they were sufficiently close to be illuminated by the PT boats, the question a reader is going to have is how come the destroyers weren't able to nullify this PT boat?
Well, they did.
And
They sunk at least two.
two out of how many, sir?
We can't be sure. It was a night attack. We can't be certain of the total number of boats that were engaged. I will give you an estimate, just for your own information, although I can't be absolutely certain of these numbers. I would say between 3 and 6 boats engaged in the attack.
How did you know?
Of which at least 2 were sunk.
How did you know
They
that?
were engaged for a period of, I believe, about 2 hours.
Yes, that's correct.
How did you know they were sunk, those two?
Were these sunk also, sir, by destroyer fire or aircraft?
I can't identify the source of sinking.
Do you use the 5-inch and 3-inch batteries? Is that all that?
Well, the 5-inch batteries plus certain automatic weapons available on the destroyers were used.
Mr. Secretary, the earlier statement was put out.
Yes.
Said they were believed to have been sunk. Is this later information they have been sunk?
It has been reported to us that they were sunk. Now this, let me emphasize, was a night action. And you must expect certain restrictions in the amount of information that are available under night conditions. But the report to us from sources that we believe are reliable indicates that these, at least 2 vessels were sunk.
But is
Are you
this...
confident that one BT boat was sunk on Sunday?
Yes, that is correct.
But is this later information that makes it
Yes.
more likely that
Yes,
they were sunk?
Yes, that is
than the
correct.
earlier-
Just 5 minutes before I came down, I received a
In other
report
words,
indicating that they were sunk.
The later information is flat.
Well, I just want to repeat what I said, that the report was that 2 PT boats at least were sunk.
Mr. Secretary, any survivors?
And a possible third, that's right.
Can you give us
tell us at all whether any of the damage was inflicted by 5-inch or...
I can't, no, this was nighttime. I can't identify the type of shell that caused the damage, or even the source of the damage as between destroyers on the one hand and our aircraft on the other.
Mr. Secretary,
Yes.
could you give us a rundown on the remaining portion of the North Vietnamese Navy? Jane's fighting ship says they have a total of 16 PT boats, of which I figure you've sunk now 1/5.
I don't wish to give you our estimates of the numbers of North Vietnamese boats by type for obvious reasons, but I will tell you there are 2 different types. One type we identify as the PT-4s. This is a patrol craft with a speed of approximately 50 knots. The other type we identify as the Swatow type, a patrol craft with a lesser speed approximating 40 knots. We believe that both types of patrol craft were engaged in today's operations.
Can you spell Swatow?
Mr. Secretary.
S-W-A-T-O-W, yes.
Approximately how many hostile torpedoes were fired at our ship?
It's very difficult to estimate. I don't wish to make a guess at it.
How many do they carry, these classes?
And I don't wish to approximate that either.
We moved up.
Yes.
Has your government been in touch during today or since Sunday with the government of the Soviet Union on the business?
Well, I'd rather not discuss that.
Mr.
Yes,
Secretary,
one more
Mr.
question.
Secretary.
I've got 3 sunk in my notes.
1 sunk on Sunday, at least 2 sunk today, possibly a 3rd sunk today, for a total of possibly 4.
I see, and that last one was
Is
the
a possible. That is correct. A possible 3rd today, which would make a possible 4th in total. Yes.
Did you say the nearest torpedoes were about 200 yards away?
Torpedoes were reported as passing between 100 and 200 yards abeam of the ships.
Can you set
One more
something up
question,
for
that's all.
tomorrow? Can you set something up for tomorrow?
I will see that you're provided with whatever news we can properly release. I'll either do it myself or arrange for others to do it. I don't believe there'll be anything tonight. I'll be receiving reports. I'm going to stay in the building tonight, and I'll be receiving reports every half hour from SyncPac. But I doubt that there'll be anything to release tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.